Massive locust infestation strikes northeast. Thick layer of locusts sends shivers down spines. Local authorities lacking funds to compensate disaster victims. Analysis: CCP may resort to excessive currency issuance. Preventing major epidemics after the Great Disaster. Sharp increase in cases of the new coronavirus. Third infection. New variant emerges. Unveiling the secrets of the CCP's Green Channel for human organ transportation. It's all covered in today's China Truths. Massive locust infestation strikes northeast. Thick layer of locusts sends shivers down spines. As we have consistently reported in recent days, following the receding of the floodwaters in the northeastern region, a series of unusual occurrences have arisen, causing growing concerns. Could these possibly be omens of impending disasters about to strike China? On August 8, a video shared widely on Twitter revealed that villagers from a certain area in northeast China captured footage showing the aftermath of local flooding. Despite the waters receding, the rice fields were found to be covered with a thick layer of locusts. The locusts could be seen on the rice stalks and leaves, prompting the man recording the video to say, "Take a look at the water. These things have become a disaster. Let me show you these grasshoppers. My goodness, it's a whole layer." At first, I thought these were leaves on the stalk, but then I realized it's all locusts. They're all over these branches. Can you imagine how many there are? There must be thousands of kilograms. The floodwaters have risen. Netizens exclaimed in astonishment, "What's going on here? How can there be so many locusts after the flood? It's eerie and unbelievable, sending shivers down one's spine." Another said, "Am I watching the plagues of Egypt? Floods, earthquakes, locusts, next there'll be famine and plague. Governments worldwide better increase their emergency food reserves. China is about to start rationing its grain." Some netizens from the northeast speculated that this might have taken place in Wuchang City, Heilongjiang Province, and expressed a sense of despair for the future. The rice fields in Wuchang, Heilongjiang, have suffered a complete crop failure. And on top of that, there is a significant infestation of locusts. Just as the floodwaters have begun to recede, even coffins have been washed away. Furthermore, we have typhoons like Kanan and Lan looming, ready to make landfall. Currently, Typhoon Kanan has suddenly changed its course by 90 degrees, bypassing Japan and heading towards the Korean peninsula. It's estimated that it might enter northeast China. Netizens lament that before the collapse of the CCP, Chinese people might have to endure difficult times. Local authorities lacking funds to compensate disaster victims. Analysis: CCP may resort to excessive currency issuance. In the midst of the recent flood disaster in Bazhou, Hebei Province, where flood victims are engaging in ongoing protests for compensation and resettlement, a prominent concern has surfaced: the financial issue. The Bazhou local government finds itself steeped in mounting debt, and even the central CCP authority is grappling with limitations in addressing the crisis. By the end of 2021, the CCP's State Council Inspection Office issued a report specifically naming Bazhou for its irregular introduction of non-tax revenue assessment methods. This confirmed that the Bazhou municipal government had imposed random fines on over 2,200 companies, totaling more than 60 million yuan, approximately $8.3 million. The Bazhou Economic Development Zone Office, on the other hand, didn't specify reasons and directly levied a fine of 10,000 yuan per mu of land, approximately $1,395, on businesses within its jurisdiction. Mu is a unit of area in traditional Chinese measurement, roughly equivalent to 1/6 of an acre or 667 square meters. It's commonly used to measure land area in agricultural contexts. This revelation exposed Bazhou's government sinking into an overwhelming debt situation. The report stated that during the fourth quarter of 2021, when issues of indiscriminate fees, random fines, and arbitrary assessments came to a head, firefighting problems became a common reason for fines. The report quoted an insider as saying that even civil servants had their salaries deducted and food supplies withheld. They had no choice but to rely excessively on fines to raise money, going to extremes. A source close to the Basho municipal government revealed that their mistakes were due to being completely and utterly out of funds for anything. Reports from Chinese media analyze that Basho's financial predicament is due to the underlying factor of sluggish local property prices. Analysis: possibility of CCP resorting to excessive money printing rises once more. An article by Hong Kong's Tsingtao Daily columnist Gao Tianyu, published on August 7, highlights that in this extensive flooding event, tens of thousands of homes have been inundated, displacing hundreds of thousands of residents. The average citizens find it difficult to expect the Basho municipal government to possess the capability for effective compensation and resettlement. Consequently, the flood-stricken residents of Basho are intensifying the situation, with one of their aims being to attract the central authorities' attention, hoping that relevant bodies will take notice. The article proposes that if the flood catastrophe is solely a natural disaster, theoretically, the government holds responsibility solely for providing relief. Conversely, if the government designates certain regions as flood discharge zones, resulting from human actions, the government is obligated to compensate the local residents affected by the disaster for their property losses. However, Gao stated that with the fiscal policy's maneuvering space increasingly limited such as at this moment, this flood might lead to a situation where monetary policy is used excessively. American economist David Huang analyzed on August 7 that, logically, Beijing should implement economic policies and administrative measures to rescue the current economic situation, including the continuous printing of money. This should theoretically prevent issues of insufficient funds for matters like social security, healthcare, or disaster relief. This is due to the perspective of central finance, where the RMB functions as a sovereign currency, granting the central finance the theoretically unlimited authority for issuance. However, an excess of money printing can lead to severe inflation, necessitating a delicate balance between inflation and the issuance of money. This matter is highly complex. Huang stated that the estimated scale of money printing for flood disaster relief alone ranges from 5 trillion to 10 trillion yuan, approximately 694 billion to 1.387 trillion US dollars. However, local governments cannot indefinitely seek funds from the central finance. The latter will exert control over local finances through various means. It becomes a game between both sides. Additionally, Huang analyzed that local governments might issue a substantial amount of bonds. Both scenarios are plausible. In 2020, the CCP issued 1 trillion yuan in special bonds to address the pandemic, issued 1.55 trillion yuan in 2007 for the capital restructuring of the Sovereign Wealth Fund, and issued 270 billion yuan in 1998 for the capital restructuring of the Big Four state-owned banks, namely the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, ICBC, China Construction Bank, CCB, Agricultural Bank of China, ABC, and Bank of China, BOC. Foreign media: if central government doesn't provide assistance, economic model could collapse. Faced with China's weakened economy, the CCP Central Political Bureau convened on July 24, proposing several measures to address the economic downturn. In response to the financial pressures that local governments are facing, they pledged to introduce a package of policies to mitigate risks. An analysis by Reuters on August 7 suggests that local governments hold immense importance for China's economy. Beijing is urging local officials to work towards achieving this year's economic growth targets. However, economists believe that excessive investments in infrastructure over the past years, coupled with drastic reductions in revenue from land sales, and rising costs due to the pandemic, have turned heavily indebted local governments into a significant risk for China's economy. Currently, the debt of China's local governments may have reached 9.2 trillion yuan, approximately 1.276 trillion US dollars, and the central government, which has repeatedly warned about the hidden debt risk of local governments, is concerned that this figure could be even higher if debts issued outside the balance sheet are taken into account. This unsustainable situation has put Beijing in a dilemma. Without assistance, the economic model could collapse, leading to severe consequences for economic growth and social stability. However, if all debts are assumed by the central government, relieving local governments of debt responsibility, it might lead to misusing these funds. In light of this predicament, the central government's commitment to local governments mainly revolves around measures like issuing special bonds, debt swaps, and loan extensions. Utilizing the central budget is considered the least favored approach. The report cites opinions from several economists, indicating that Beijing is likely to instruct state-owned banks to continue providing long-term loans at lower interest rates. This could be a strategy to extend the maturity of expiring debts, a tactic commonly referred to as extension and camouflage. However, such actions may directly impact banks' financing plans for other businesses, affecting their asset and operational status, and potentially weakening their lending capacity. The report concludes that to prevent the recurrence of local debt issues, the CCP's policymakers need to make profound changes to the way the economy operates. Preventing major epidemics after the Great Disaster, sharp increase in cases of the new coronavirus third infection, new variant emerges. As the floodwaters subside from the areas in northeastern China, worries about a potential disease outbreak have become a significant area of concern. Moreover, the new coronavirus continues to spread across the mainland and is showing signs of increasing. Experts are warning that the next wave of the epidemic could potentially emerge in November. The China Center for Disease Control and Prevention, China CDC, announced the new coronavirus infection situation for July across the nation. The report revealed 455 newly reported severe cases and 65 fatalities attributed to the virus. It is noted that all the deceased had underlying health conditions coupled with the new coronavirus infection. Prior in June, 239 individuals in China succumbed to new coronavirus infection. All identified as the Omicron variant, spanning across 116 distinct evolutionary branches. The prevailing variant in circulation continues to be the XBB series. However, the actual figures regarding the number of deaths due to the epidemic continue to remain a mystery. Recently, many Chinese citizens have expressed that the occurrence of a third bout of infection has been on the rise. Some individuals have remarked, 3 bouts in 8 months, at this rate, how many times will there be positive in 1 or 2 years? Meanwhile, many citizens have indicated severe post-new coronavirus sequelae. Shanghai resident, experts predict that the next wave cycle will likely be around November this autumn. Is this true? As someone who has experienced the second bout of infection, I'm genuinely worried. Because my due date is at the end of November. On August 8, Dr. Hu Yang, deputy chief physician of the respiratory department at Shanghai Pulmonary Hospital, posted a message stating that it's an established fact that the new coronavirus can lead to reinfections. Since the relaxation of restrictions in December of last year, there have been continuous instances of the third bout of infection. Dr. Hu stated that fundamentally, the new coronavirus is a rapidly mutating virus, and its characteristics are undoubtedly different from those of relatively stable viruses. The antibodies of most individuals gradually decline, and when they reach a certain level, reinfection can occur. The virus has a strong ability to evade the immune system's eradication efforts. Meanwhile, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, have announced the emergence of a new variant of the novel coronavirus that is undergoing mutations and spreading worldwide. This variant is referred to as EG.5, a descendant of the Omicron variant. EG.5 spreads rapidly and has gradually become the dominant variant in U.S. cases, with its percentage of total cases increasing from 7.5% in early July to 17.3% on August 4, surpassing the mutations of the XBB variant. Unveiling the secrets of the CCP's Green Channel for human organ transportation. A doctor carrying human organs swiftly transitioned from a high-speed train to a police car, then entered the exclusive organ transportation Green Channel at Hongqiao Airport. Boarding Eastern Airlines Flight MU5127, the doctor completed the journey from train to plane, including door closing, in just 16 minutes. This information comes from a Sina.com news report, which noted, the doctor boarded the police car at 20:37 after leaving the train and entered the plane at 20:53. The door closed at 20:55, completing the relay in 16 minutes. However, this is not an isolated case. This instance sheds light on the CCP's green channel for human organ transport. Since 2016, the CCP collaborated with 6 departments, including the Ministry of Public Security, and backed by official policies, to establish the nationwide China Human Organ Green Transport Channel, operating at airports, high-speed train stations, and other sites. Helicopters were even employed for some organ transports. According to the China Civil Aviation Network, by the end of 2022, over 11,000 green channels for human organ air transport had been established in China over the past 6 years. Notable instances include Capital Airlines. In June 2023, their Xi'an base initiated a green channel for live organ transport, moving human organs from Xi'an to Hangzhou. Tianjin Airlines. In June 2023, a strategic partnership between Tianjin Red Cross and Tianjin Airlines established an efficient green transport channel for human organ transfers in Tianjin. Tibet Airlines. In April 2023, Tibet Airlines introduced an exclusive security check green channel for organ transport, transferring human organs from Chengdu, Sichuan, to Shanghai. Hunan Airlines. In June 2022, human organs were transported via Hunan Airlines Flight A67148 from Changchun, Jilin, to Wuxi, Jiangsu. China Eastern Airlines. In October 2022, China Eastern Airlines launched a security check green channel for organ transport, moving human organs from Baotou, Inner Mongolia, to Shanghai. An airline's organ green transport channel can span hundreds of cities, and 22 Chinese airlines were involved in human organ air transport activities between January and September 2019. For example, China Southern Airlines unveiled a green channel for human organ transport in Guangzhou, as reported by the Wuhan Changjiang Daily in 2016. This channel covers all domestic destinations, including cities such as Wuhan, Beijing, Guangzhou, Tianjin, Hangzhou, Chengdu, Nanjing, and more. The question remains, where do these tens of thousands of organs come from? The CCP's live organ harvesting practice was exposed in 2006. Over the last decade, various international investigative reports have linked the CCP to the live organ harvesting of prisoners of conscience, including Falun Gong practitioners. In March 2020, the Independent Tribunal into Forced Organ Harvesting from Prisoners of Conscience in China, based in London, issued its final written judgment, concluding, the killing of prisoners of conscience for their organs has been practiced for a substantial period of time involving a very substantial number of victims. Falun Gong practitioners have been one, and probably the main, source of organ supply. Regarding the nationwide coverage of the Green Channel for human organ transport in China, lawyer David Mattis informed Epoch Times, patients, especially transplant tourists, tend to gather in major cities. Conscience prisoners, like Falun Gong practitioners, are spread across various regions, not just concentrated in large transplant hospitals. Therefore, victims' organs are transferred to transplant recipients' locations. He noted that suppressed areas under CCP control, including minority regions, also see a concentration of victims. He added, mass killing of prisoners of conscience for organs constitutes a form of genocide. Without the intent for genocide, this system wouldn't exist, and he stated that the act of live organ harvesting is an unprecedented evil on this planet. Falun Gong is a mind and body cultivation practice based on truthfulness, compassion, forbearance. It involves 5 sets of exercises with notable health benefits. It became highly popular in mainland China during the 1990s. CCP's Ministry of Public Security data indicated that before 1999, over 70 million practiced Falun Gong, prompting a comprehensive crackdown in July 1999. On May 29, 2012, a report from Investigation International revealed that Jiang Zemin, then chairman of the Central Military Commission, employed state machinery, including the military and armed police, to systematically execute the extermination of Falun Gong and live organ harvesting of its practitioners. Don't forget to comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. Make sure to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths.